Hey everyone, welcome to Sereni-TCG here with a brand new video, and because it's the release of Set 5 Equilibrium, we'll be opening a series of products starting from the two-player Clash kit of Paul the Waiter and Avenging Guy LARPing Expert. So looking at the back, we have some Clash kit exclusive alternate art cards. So these are alternate arts that you can find only here in the Clash kit, such as Solar Smash, Flare, Solar Force, and Sonoro the Awakened Breaker, among others. And we also have double-sided contenders like this Avenging Guy LARPing Expert here. So we have the normal art, then the full art behind it. Let's open the box up and see what the deck consists of. Okay. I'll just use this. Oh, come on. Never mind, I'll just open it from behind. Even that doesn't work? Why? Why won't you open? Other side? Okay. Slowly but surely, we'll be able to open this. Slowly but surely. Or we could just break the whole box. Oh my god, why are you so hard to open? I keep having a hard time opening some of these products, and maybe it's just a me problem. So, we have Avenging Guy LARPing Expert and Paul the Waiter. So, let's first open up Paul the Waiter. No, not Paul the Waiter. Avenging Guy LARPing Expert and see what we have here. So, the Avenging Guy is one of the bounty contenders that will happen on the Progenitors Gambit or Nationals in the Philippines. That will be on June at the Hobby Stadium. So, one of our contenders for that event is Avenging Guy. So if you get top place in the nationals with this contender, you'll get, I would say, around $100 and a textless card. I think it's above 1,000 truths. I should really recheck it. Anyways, we'll be starting with the Avenging Guy. So here is the contender foiled, and behind it is the alternate art. The foiling is really nice on this one. Okay, so the Avenging Guy LARPing Expert is a 25 health contender, 1 attack, 0 defense, and during your primary phase, you may engage this contender. If you do, distract target ready clash card you don't control. If you control a clash ground, that clash card gets -2, -0 until the end of turn. So distract means that clash card cannot obstruct the next attack next turn. So you basically have not really breakthrough, but you can stop your opponent from obstructing using clash cards. And at Awakening, 15 health, if this contender has a weapon attached, non-token clash cards you control get +1 +0. Okay, so that's it for the contender. Let's start with the deck breakdown. So we'll be starting off with an alternate art, Amazon Rainforest from set 1. So we have 2 copies of this, 1 foil and 1 non-foil. Whoa, I really like this one. The art is really clean, so clean. Okay, so you know what it does. Let's just move on to the next. Now we have Vengeance, 4 copies, 2 foil and 2 non-foil, and this is the Clash buff. So you may only play this card if your contender is a green rogue. So target attacking contender clash card gets +2 +1 until end of turn. If the target deals damage to a contender, draw 1 card. So if deals to a contender, draw 1, gives +2 +1. It's a strong clash buff, I would say. But I would say that you can only use this when attacking. You can't use this when defending because the text specifically says target attacking contender or clash card gets +2 +1. So you cannot use this when you're obstructing. That's the only downside to this. You can't use it defensively. Okay, so next we have another alternate art. Sonoro the Awakened Breaker, 4 copies, 2 foil and 2 non-foil. The 5 costs for 3 that trigger attack. This gets +1/1 and draw 1 card. And if your contender is an alpha, if your contender is a green alpha, you may ready a clash card you control with an initial resource cost of 1 or less. So that's the other Awaken. Let's just fix this right here. Sonoro the Awakened Breaker. And yet, another one, the Avenging Guy. So this is the 3 cost, 3 attack, 1 defense vanilla. You can use this with Whistler, where this card will get +2/+2 to add on to the defense. And I would say it's a good generic card. 3 cost, 3/1, and if distracted, it can hit for quite a lot. No, not if this is distracted. If your opponent's clash card is distracted, this can hit the contender for quite a lot. Now we have 2 copies of Adjacent Rooftop. So this is a new clash ground for AC5. If a sorcerer opponent controls would deal non-clash damage to contender or clash card you control, it deals that much damage -1. So this is a powerful clash ground against Torques, because this clash ground would negate all of the non-clash damage that it would deal from the contender, from Flare, and even Boom would have to deal 4 damage instead of 5 because of if this card is in play. So trigger enter, reveal X Avenging Guy clash cards from your hand. If you do, deal X non-clash damage to target clash card, where X is the number of Avenging Guy clash cards revealed this way. So if you reveal, let's say, two Avenging Guy clash cards, then you can deal 2 damage to an opponent's card. This is good against Torques, I would say, just because of the non-clash damage negation. Would it work against Pestilence and the debuffs? I am not really sure, but most likely it will, since it's still classified as non-clash damage. Next, we have another AC5 card, Avenging Guy Hitting the Mark. So it's a 4 cost, 3 attack, 3 defense. And whenever a clash ground enters play under your control, target opponent diminishes 2 cards. If a clash ground you control would leave play, you may return target contender weapon from your Oblivion to your hand. So I would say this is good against Alpha Aster, especially when they put down green, they return a card from the Oblivion to the second card of the top of the deck. So if you have this card, then play a, let's say, Adjacent Rooftop, they would have to diminish those 2 cards, and the one they just put back will be back to the Oblivion. This is a good tech card. Then next, we have 4 copies of Avenging Guy Practicing. This is a 2 cost, 3 attack, 2 defense, and if this card is obstructed, it gets -3, -0 until end of turn. So this card is good for aggro. It works well with Avenging Guy because, well, at the early game, you still have only 1 or 2 clash cards. Your opponent has 1 or 2 clash cards, and you can just use this card, play this, distract with the Avenging Guy contender, and they won't be able to block the heavy 3 that will come early game. Now, next we have 3 copies of Avenging Guy Preparing for Combat, another AC5 card. This is a 3 cost, 2 attack, 2 defense, and trigger enter. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You may reveal a non-clash card with an initial resource cost of 2 or less. If you do, put it in your hand, then put the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is basically what you'll need to get your arrows, the quiver, and Bow of 1,000 Roots. And you can also use this for other decks, such as getting weapons, traps, accessories, relics, and even clash buffs. Clash buffs action. Basically, everything you can get that's 2 or less, except, well, clash cards. Okay, so moving on. Avenging Guy Taking Aim, we have 3 copies of it. This is, I would say, one of the more broken cards of the set, because while this is a 1 cost, 0 attack, 1 defense, its effect is, during your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, target clash card gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So you can combine this with Avenging Guy practicing. So just engage this, give the power to Avenging Guy practicing, and hit with 5 while one of your opponent's clash cards is distracted. So you already have a 5 heavy hitter early game. Next one, we have Avenging Guy taking his shot, 4 copies. This is an AC5 card, rare card, yes. 6 cost, 4 attack, 4 defense, but trigger attack. This card gets +X, where X is equal to the initial resource cost of the target clash ground in play. So, if you have an adjacent rooftop clash card, which is a 3 cost, put this down and attack. This card is essentially a 7/7 hitter. And that's if you use adjacent rooftop. This can add 1, 2, depending on the clash ground you have in play. But it's still a powerful card because it depends on what kind of clash ground there is. So if you control a clash ground, this card gets interception. So you even have some flight defense here. Next one, 4 copies of Avenging Guy Dressing Instincts. A 2 cost, 1 attack, 3 defense. If your opponent controls a clash ground, this card gets trigger attack, distract target ready clash card. And whenever this card deals damage to a contender, draw 1 card and put 1 card from your hand to the top of your deck. So this will basically serve as your recycle. So this will be your recycle for the deck. Oops. Hold up. So basically, Trusting Instincts is your deck recycle, so you can have a better hand for your, hand. Next one, we have 4 copies of Bow of 1,000 Roots. This is your contender weapon, 2 cost, and you have to pay 1 green to attach. So, attach contender gets, when this contender becomes engaged, target clash card gets -2/-0 until end of turn. If that target was distracted this turn, it gets -3/-0 instead. So this is a heavy attack debuff. Okay, so combined with the clash ground, you can essentially debuff the opponent clash card's attack by 4. 5 if it's distracted. So whenever you play a card with arrow in its name, draw a card, and this card can only be attached to an Avenging Guy contender. So this is only for the Avenging Guy. So next we have the arrows that was stated earlier in Bow of 1,000 Truths effect. We first have Ricochet Arrow, which is a 3 cost basic action where you deal 2 damage to target clash card you don't control. Then, if you control a clash ground, deal 2 damage to another target clash card you don't control. So you can hit two different people for a cost of 3, which is not bad. Dealing 4 damage, 2 damage simultaneously to 2 different clash cards. So you can kill 2 different clash cards if done right. Okay, so we have 2 copies of Bullseye, Trap Accessory, 2 costs. So this attack can only be activated if your contender has a contender weapon attached. So you have a restriction here, that's why it's 2 costs, but you have to attach, your contender has to have a contender weapon. So counter attack, deal 5 damage to target attacking clash card. So it's something of a mini kinetic blast. Good for defense because it will die before you get damage. Next, 2 copies of I'm Avenging, 3 costs, basic action. So choose one, either target clash card gets trigger attack, distract target ready clash card you don't control, or send target trap to oblivion. If you control a clash ground, you may do both. It's a good tech card, an additional distract, and you can send a trap to oblivion. I would say it's good against Chrome. So, last 2 cards we have is Rooftop Roll, 3 cost quick action and counterplay. Prevent the next 3 damage that will be dealt to target contender or clash card you control this turn. Then, if you control a clash ground, you may draw a card. So this is your something of an attack negation because it prevents the next 3 damage, and you may draw a card if you have a clash ground in place. So overall, I would say that build, this starter deck is good. Avenging Guy is quite powerful if done right, but I would say Paul is the more powerful one between the two right now. So let's open up Paul. So Paul is is a defensive contender, even more so than your regular 0-1 contenders, because this one can obstruct, which is a first of itself. Okay, why won't you open for me? There we go. Okay. So here we have Paul the Waiter, 20 health, and 0 attack 1 defense. This contender can obstruct. So as long as you control an engaged clash card, this card may not be the target of the first declared attack on the opponent's turn. That alone makes this contender strong, because they have to target your clash cards first before attacking you. But by then, you can obstruct. And this card gets trigger obstruct, reveal the top card of your deck. If a non-trap accessory was revealed this way, prevent the next 2 damage that will be dealt to this contender. Otherwise, prevent the next 1 damage that will be dealt to this contender this turn, then draw that card. So, this alone, you can prevent a maximum of 3 damage just by obstructing, and you even get draw power from it. If it's a non-trap accessory, good for you. It's essentially a 0-3. If not, then it's a 0-2. Then its awakening is at 12 health. During your primary phase, you may engage this card. If you do, attach a weapon you control with an initial resource cost of 4 or less to an Alpha Hunter or Rogue Clash card you control without paying its attach cost. So, late game, once the opponent has bigger units, you can just forego the blocking and keep attaching weapons to your clash cards. And what's good about this is that not only Alpha Hunters will benefit from this, but also Rogue. So you can attach something like Moxie Heavy Power Armor, or Jan of the East, which is a white 3-cost card that can only be attached to Howling cards. Now, moving on to the deck breakdown. We first have Commendation. This is the clash buff of the deck. So 4 copies. This is also an alternate art. So 1 cost, you may only play this card if your contender is an Alpha Hunter. Target contender or clash card gets +1/+1 until end of this clash. If the target is obstructing, it gets an additional +1/+1. Then draw 1 card and discard 1 card. So aside from the additional 1/1, if it obstructs, it gets 2/2. You immediately get draw power. Not necessarily draw power, but a hand recycle, because you'll be drawing 1, discarding 1, and you can even use this in. I would say you can use this with Weapons Depot or the Red Trap that allows you to return a weapon from Oblivion to Accessory Zone, so you can use that. Throw away a weapon and just use Weapons Depot or the Trap to bring it back, essentially for free. So next we have 2 copies of Flare Solar Force. This is an alternate art from the first set, I believe. 5 cost, 5 attack, 5 defense, and flight. So nothing much to think about it. Then another one from the previous set, Piercing Strike. 1 cost red, counter attack, deal 2 damage to target attacking clash card. And we have one of the better ones in terms of art. I really like this one since it's Torque. Well, Solar Smash, 2 cost, deal 3 damage to target contender or clash card. An incredibly useful and powerful deck. A powerful card it depends on how you use it. But for me, it's quite strong and I love the art of it. Then we have Congress Plaza Hotel Rooftop. 3 cost, Clash Ground. So Alpha Hunter clash cards get +1/+1. During your primary phase, you may engage a Paul clash card you control. If you do, attach a weapon with an initial resource cost of 2 or less to an Alpha Hunter clash card you control. So this is more likely for your mozzarella sticks. where whenever they are attached for the first time during the turn, you automatically heal 1. Now, we have 2 copies of Weber the Opportunist. 1 cost red, 1 attack, 1 defense, and if this card deals damage to a contender, you may put an accessory with an initial resource of 1 or less from your Oblivion to play. So, cards that apply to this, no, not Moxie. Moxie Sidearm, Clarity's 1911, and even the grenades. If a weapon you control is attached to a clash card you don't control, this card gets +1/+1. So this is more for grenade play, sonic grenade, incendiary grenade, smoke grenade, and the other ones that you can get from the set 3 clash kit with Weber. Now, next one, a reprint from set 4. This is Paul helping out. Trigger attack, attach target weapon you control to another Alpha Hunter clash card you control without paying that weapon's resource attach cost. So this is basically will be your powerhouse for the deck. This is a free attach for every time this card attacks, and with Paul obstructing, this won't go down so easily. Then we have Moxie Steel Siren. This is 2 copies. 2 copies from AC5, uncommon, 3 calls to attack, 3 defense. Trigger attack, you may send target weapon you control to Oblivion if you do draw a card. So this can be used for your badges. You can just remove a badge, then draw 1 card automatically. Then, another new card, Cherry Bomb Explosive Entrance, 4 calls, 3/3, and this character is actually a Filipina from the Philippines. So this is a rare alpha. Trigger enter, you may discard a card. If you do, create 1 red Nova Relic accessory token and deal damage to the target clash card equal to the initial resource cost of the card discarded this way. If the target has a trigger defeat effect, you may draw 1 card. So, I never realized Cherry Bomb had a relation with Flare, since you're essentially making Nova tokens with this one. So you may discard a card, and that card depending on the resource. For example, we discard this Moxie Steel Siren. I can deal 3 non-clash damage to a card I choose, and if the target card has a trigger defeat effect, I can draw 1 card. I would say it's good for Flare, but it's also good for Paul, just for the removals. So I would say play this card, remove a heavy power armor, deal 4 damage, then just bring it back with Weapons Depot or other cards that can bring back weapons to the board. Now we have 2 copies of Weapon System, another AC4 card. 2 cost red, attach 1 red. Once per turn during your primary phase, you may engage the attached contender. If you do choose 1, deal 1 damage to clash card or draw a card. This can only be attached to Paul the Contender. I don't know why they add this. I think it's not good for this deck, but still they add this, and I don't know why. Now, we have one of the crazier cards art-wise, because mozzarella sticks. We have Paul eating mozzarella sticks, and this is a card art that I wasn't expecting. So, mozzarella sticks, 2 cost red, attached using 1 red, and attached clash card gets trigger obstruct. This clash card gets 0/2 until the end of this clash. When this card attaches to a clash card for the first time each turn, your contender gains 1 health. This is a beautiful card because a lot of cards from the previous sets, a lot of red cards here in the current set are actually more defensive than offensive. So we have Paul Patiently Waiting, which is a 1/3 for 2 cost red. So it's good for defense, and you get constant heals every turn, and you can even use this on the opponent's turn. So I believe there is a accessory or trap. There's a trap, black trap, that counter attack. You can attach a card from resource zone to that clash card and detach. So just using that can get you a free heal. Not exactly free heal, but still, it's a heal nonetheless. 2 copies of Warfront Outpost, another Clash Ground, 3 costs. Alpha Hunters get trigger attack, deal 1 damage to target Clash card. Or Clash cards you control get counter attack, you may engage this card and deal 1 damage to target attacking Clash card. So this card, I would say it's okay. Back then, when set 4 was still out, we were actually thinking if this was viable for an infinite loop. But as we tested it, no, it does not. So this goes down in my book. And speaking of books, we have Paul pursuing his dream. So you want to be a writer, a masterclass. Paul wants to write his book, and I think it's gonna be about the Alpha Hunters for sure, since he's the de facto creator of the Alpha Hunters. So this is a Clash card, 3 cost, 2 attack, 2 defense. During your primary phase, you may send an attached weapon you control to Oblivion. If you do, other Alpha Hunter Clash cards you control get recover 1. So you can just remove a badge, put it to Oblivion, then all your other Alpha Hunter cards get recover 1. So each time they attack, you get to heal 1. Then 4 copies of Moxie Recruiting the Best. This is one of the better cards for me. Because trigger enter, create 1 red badge weapon accessory token. So this will be essentially your badge generator. So for 2 cost, 3 attack, 1 defense, it's already good. Because badge can give 1 defense to the Clash card. This is essentially your badge generator, and you can use this with Paul Pursuing Stream and other cards that remove these kinds of attached weapons, so you can get even more effects from it. And since it's a badge, you can make a lot of it. There's no typical limit, really. They're not limited by the 4 copies. Then we have 4 copies of Weber Examining the Scene. This is another AC4 card, 4 cost, 5 attack, 4 defense, and it has Observant. So it cannot attack on the turn that it's played. But this is a better card because trigger enter, you may search your deck for a weapon card without Unrivaled, reveal it, shuffle the deck, and put the card on top. So you can use this to search some powerful weapons, heavy armor, Gen of the East, except Warhammer, since Warhammer is an Unrivaled card. So you can search for essentially any weapon, put it on top of the deck, then draw it next turn if you are able to. Not unless they diminish your cards or something like that. Then, okay. So we have 4 copies of Armored Operation. This is another set 4 card. 2 cost red, counter attack, put target weapon from your Oblivion to your accessory zone. Then you may pay the attached cost to attach that weapon to a Clash card you control. If you do that, Clash card gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So this is what I talked about earlier with the weapons. Put a weapon in the trash. Use this trap to bring it back from Oblivion. Then just pay the attached cost for your card to get +2/+0. It's a powerful card. It's a good card because you can get to return quite a lot with it. So we have Incendiary Grenade, 1 cost red, attach 1. While this card is attached to a Clash card you control, this weapon gets whenever the attached Clash card attacks. You may attach this weapon to target Clash card defending player controls without paying its attached cost. So you just basically, it's a grenade. When your character attacks, you throw this to the enemy Clash card, and they will be getting a debuff, which in this one, whenever the attached Clash card would obstruct, deal 4 damage to the attached Clash card, then send this weapon to Oblivion. So if your opponent attacks, boom, 4 damage, and most likely it will die. Hopefully. Then we have 2 copies of Sonic Grenade. So Sonic Grenade is a 2 cost weapon. Attach 1, the first effect is basically Clash card attacks. With this attached, you put this to an enemy Clash card you don't control. Then, if this weapon is attached to an opponent's Clash card, this weapon gets the attached Clash card you can't attack or obstruct during their primary phase. The attached Clash card's controller may pay 2 resources of any color to send this card to Oblivion. And if they do, Clash cards they control get -2/-0. So, not only will that card cannot not attack or defend when it's attached, but they have to pay 2 resource to remove this. And even if it's removed, they get an attack debuff of 2. Now we have 2 copies of Deflect. So Deflect is prevent all clash damage that will be dealt during this clash. This is essentially your attack negation. Recalls attack negation for red, then deal 2 damage to target contender. Not bad, but I would prefer the other attack negation such as Deafening Soundwave. That is a better one, I would say. Now we have the last 2 cards of the deck. We have Air Assault, which is a 4 cost and an exclusive accessory. If a trigger enter effect of a card you control would trigger, that effect triggers an additional turn. So this card would essentially trigger, the card you put down will essentially trigger twice. So if we use Recruiting the Best with this one in play, you create 2 badges instead of 1. And for the last 4 cards, not necessarily part of the deck, these are your badges, which are tokens. So you create this, attach 1 red, then attach clash card gets 0/1 and can attach an additional non-token weapon. So this can give you defense and can help you attach 1 more weapon of any of your choosing. So more power, more defense, it depends on you. But you can use this with Mozzarella Sticks, essentially giving your clash card a 3 defense, which is not really bad considering, well, some of the set 4 cards only have 1 attack and easily die, but that's more of because, well, the Red Moxie's effect allows you to create badge tokens for every Alpha Hunter defeated. So, that's it for Paul, and that's it for the Clash Kit in general. Tell me what you think about the decks. I think they're both great. So you have someone who stops your opponent from obstructing, then you have another who continuously obstructs and gets draw power from it. These are 2 fundamentally different decks, both powerful in each way, and I would say, but even though I want to play Avenging Guy, Paul is a better contender for this. Paul is a better contender overall because your opponents are forced to attack your clash cards. And even if they do, you can just obstruct with the contender and you can just get a 0/2 from this contender itself. Attach a, let's say, Tactical Vest, and it becomes a 0/3 minimum, 0/4 maximum. Commendation, you can block essentially up to 0/6. So, no. Commendation, this card becomes a 0/6, if done correctly. So you can defend at least a lot of the bigger hits, the big hitters, I would say. So Avenging Guy is more of a aggro, I would say, because, well, your opponents can't obstruct. If they have a ready clash card, you may just engage this card, and your opponent's clash cards are distracted, so they cannot obstruct during that attack. So that is it for the Clash Kit opening. So you can check out this video right over here where we will be showing you how the decks are played. So my friend and I played these decks, tested them as is, and you'll be, well, not really surprised by the outcome, but still, it's something worth watching. So please check it out, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day and see you tomorrow for the pre-release kit opening. Bye!